You're listening to the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport Fan Network, and charity partners with Mentel, for county fans, by county fans.
Good evening and welcome to episode 24 of this season's Scarf Bagara War. You may think that I am sounding rather sexy tonight, guys. It's actually a cold and there's nothing sexy about it for me. But you get to benefit, I guess. Tonight we have Dan Culverwell with me, Jimmy Harmer. So hi, Dan. How are you doing, mate? Not got the lurgy, I hope.
Yeah, not too bad. No snotty noses or tissues at this end. So, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, a bit windy, but, you know, I think everywhere's a bit windy tonight.
Do you mean it's a bit windy where like in your direct vicinity after
there's
or windy outside?
No Brussels sprouts has been consumed in this household today. So, yeah, there's no flatulence going on. It's just
I've had cauliflower cheese for my lunch, so I can't promise that won't be the case for me. But there we go. Anyway, so tonight we have a new fan guest, a fan guest who hasn't been on the Wednesday pod or the Courtyard Club call before, and his name is Paul Milligan. He is a season ticket holder in the pop side with his wife and son, and we're going to bring him out now.
Take it to the corner, flag son. Take it to the corner. Keep going. Don't cross it. Take it to the corner. He's cut it back. I can't believe it.
That's mint. So that is the latest transition. Thank you, Mr. Culverwell, for putting that together. And thank you to you, Paul, for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be on, Jimmy. And Dan, hi. Thanks for having me. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to spend the next half an hour or so chatting county. So I'm presuming that is why you're here, mate.
Well, I hope so. Yeah. I sincerely hope so. Although we can continue to talk about flatulence if you really want to.
Well, if you're an expert on it, why not?
Well, no, I think we'll go on to the football. How about that?
Okay, let's do it. So tonight we're going to be talking about the 2-0 win over Exeter yesterday. We'll have a little look at the table as well, a bit of ref watch, and we may as well spend a little bit of time on the Bradford game. So a quick preview of the Bradford game that's taking place on Tuesday night in the BSM Trophy. As Dave has said in his post-match, he's only expecting 900 fans there. I think that's a little bit on the low side, Dave, but in fairness, I'm not going to be one of the 900 fans. I guarantee you Dan is not going to be one of the 900 fans. He ain't driving 6 hours for that game. Are you going to be one of the 900 fans, Paul?
I will, actually. The three of us are going up on Tuesday night. We're looking forward to it. Wednesday night?
Tuesday.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
Yes, we'll be there. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, but I'm not holding out much hope looking at the storm outside.
Oh, it was absolutely freezing yesterday, and I felt so sorry. I mean, like, you're in the pop side, aren't you? I felt so sorry for the people in the pop side, certainly the lower levels. And I couldn't believe, obviously, I'm in a Cheadle end, so quite relatively far back in lower tier 3. And I couldn't believe how many fans were just sat in like the first 2 or 3 rows of the pop side when there's loads of seats behind them. I'd have been back as far as I could have got.
Yeah, you move back a little bit. If there's space, move back. But it was interesting. They were talking about the fact that you can't, don't stand up. It's all seated. Don't stand up. Don't go and stand at the back. Yeah. I looked over the railway end and thought to myself, why would you be over there? There was one guy I noticed that had shorts on.
He's always
it wasn't Andy Redding, was it, by any chance?
Could have been.
He's normally in his shorts in all weathers. Although, in fairness, he was wearing a hat yesterday. So it must have been cold, because I don't think I've ever seen Andy wearing a hat before. But there we go. Anyway, shall we go through the team, Dan? So if you take us through the FOTMob team. Nice one. Let's go.
Yeah, so I think everybody was a bit caught out, to be honest, with this starting 11. Obviously, with Hinchliffe keeping his place in goal. Back to the normal back three, as we'd say, of Connolly, Horsfall and Pye. The surprise, obviously, was Jay Mingy coming in for Macca as a right wing back. Camps replacing Norwood might have been a surprise, may not be. I think Dave did say that some players have played a few games more than in a row than what he was actually hoping. Bate and Torre on the left-hand side of that sort of midfield four. Collar and Barry in front of them as normal, with Wootton being the star of the Christmas tree as such. So yeah, Mingy, the bit of a forgotten man of the team. I still think Mingy, we've never conceded a goal while Mingy's been on the pitch. I think that is still, might be wrong, but I think that might still be the record, that we've not conceded a goal while Mingy's actually been on the pitch. But yeah, I think that I'll be surprised if anybody got 11 out of 11 anyway. For that sort of format, starting 11, and like you say, the formation seems to be sort of a settled one of 3-4-2-1, or a Christmas tree, as we're in that festive period, as you can, the ones that are watching on YouTube can see from our festive background.
It looks just like my Christmas tree that we put up today as well, in fairness. Although, in fairness, my Christmas tree is a little bit lopsided.
Is it?
And a little bit bottom heavy as well, I would say. So not
have you got
ideal.
Wootton as the star on your Christmas tree as well?
I do not have. In fact, I could print off a little picture of Kyle's face and shove him up there. I'm not sure my wife would be that impressed, but my daughter would be happy with that, to be fair.
See, I think County have missed out. There could be a Christmas line of Christmas balls with Carl Wootton's face on and Louis Barry's face. They can make a packet. Christmas balls. There you go, County. I've given you. It was a bit late for this year. But they could have got their act together and did a whole line of Christmas balls. I'd have definitely put Carl Wootton at the top of my Christmas tree.
So, Paul, what did you think of that team? Hit us with it.
Yeah, I was pleased with it. It was a shame to kind of see that Maka wasn't going to be in the starting lineup, and it did make me wonder who was actually going to appear on that right-hand side. Having said that, Mingy, before his injury, I thought was superb. The pace that he brings to that side was phenomenal. In fact, I think sometimes he's a little bit too. He can be a little bit too quick and a little bit too pacey. Mac is great, don't get me wrong, but I think that Mingy just brings that little bit more speed down.
What do you think of his attacking output, though, Paul? Do you think he gives enough?
I don't think he puts. I don't think he can get he puts the balls into the box as well as Maka. His defense is superb, and the tracking back that he can do is impressive. You're waiting for the winger to kind of knock it past him, because you think, you're gonna lose. He'll get there before you without any doubt. But yeah,
it's all about the recovery runs, I think, with Mingy. I sometimes think that his positional sense maybe isn't the best, playing at right back or right wing back, but you're spot on there. His ability to, when his winger starts kicking it in front of him, he's back. He's almost like a Wan-Bissaka type of player, I would say, from that respect. You know that he's going to win that foot race.
I dare you to go down the outside.
Yeah. The
way that football's played, though, at the moment with the formations, we're always looking for wingers now that cut in. Hey, we play the same sort of way. We have that winger that wants to cut in every time onto his right foot. But Mingy gives you that cover. He kind of goes, right, well, if you're gonna go, and I'll beat you to the corner every time.
So Torre on the other side, Dan. So what do you think about, like, I'm not convinced having those two as our two wing backs in the same team. One or the other, maybe.
Well, I think we've said with Torre, he's getting better by the game. He's a steady Eddie, but he doesn't offer you what Rydell does. He doesn't link up as well with Barry. As a player, I find Rydell really links up well, goes beyond Barry, and you sort of get a little bit more out of Barry, out of his play. But like I say, Torre doesn't let anybody down, to be honest. So I wasn't surprised. Like I say, Rydell, Both and Mac have not played a lot of football lately. There was a lot of concern, and I think Dave Challoner mentioned it, that with Rydell, it wasn't about a fitness thing. It was a mental thing of him getting back, pushing his limits and pushing his boundaries, more of a mental than actually a physical thing. So it's a good game to have. A lot of games coming up. It was a good game probably to rest him, even though obviously it's on the back of a defeat to Birmingham. So yeah, like I say, completely understand it. And same again with Mingy on the other side. With Macca back, Noyle not a million miles far back either, and also another man that we forgot that. Same again, we seem to have that was playing very, very well on Yango, that got injured, had 2 or 3 cracking games, and then got injured, and we haven't really seen much of him. And obviously, he's going to come back into that sort of side. So yeah, it's starting to sort of look good. I know, obviously, Dave Challoner said there's a few more little niggles in the camp and stuff like that, but no, I thought both of them came into the team, and I didn't think we looked weaker at all, to be honest. But it was, like you say, it doesn't matter the formation or anything like that. I think, like you say, for me, watching it at home on the stream, it was just playing to the conditions, and definitely that first 20 minutes, I just felt that we didn't, understand the conditions. We tried to do cross-field balls and stuff like that, where for me, it was just keep the ball on the deck and pass it 10 yards and move and play that game, not try and play, defeat the weather and beat the wind.
I think my concern before the game was that the conditions would potentially be a leveler, and I'm not saying that Exeter are a bad side and they're a clogging sort of side, but I did worry that it was one of those sort of games that we could have gone away or lost 1-0 basically. So Ben makes a mistake, or they score a goal from a scrappy whatever, and then we toil and we fail to score. And I think that first half, certainly by the end of the first half, we go through some of the stats, we'd only had 45% possession, and I think, Dan, it's back at what you were saying. We were playing a lot of long balls, and I'm not sure the conditions really required that. So yeah, 45% possession for us. We had an XG of 0.36, and they had like 0.05. So we had 5 shots, but only 3 shots in the first 36 minutes. So I think that highlights how we were struggling, I think, to cope with those conditions. Only 1 shot on target. Passes wise, we were pretty low on the passes, 175 to their 204. And yeah, they're the main sort of stats. So Paul, what did you think when Horsfall went off? Because I think that helped us in the end with hindsight.
Unfortunately, it did. I think moving from that back 3 or back 5 back into a 4, I didn't bring in that extra player into the midfield. That's where we were losing out. So you're talking about the passing, and the passing stats and how few we were making, and still trying to knock that long ball. All of a sudden, we seem to be outnumbered in that before Fraser. Can I call him that?
Oh, oh gosh, Russ will not like you calling him Fraser, unless he's like your best mate, or he's the best man at your wedding, or you go drinking with him. You aren't allowed to call him Fraser. It's Mr. Horsfall. So.
Mr. Horsfall in that case. Well, when
I'll
Mr.
call him Fraser, but
went off, bringing Norwood on, all of a sudden we seemed to have control of that midfield, and we were able to then make those short 10-yard passes and stop lumping it forward, and watching the midfield running forwards back, that continual movement of Bate and my favourite player, Camps, just that continual movement around Norwood, who could just sit there in front of the back 4 and control and pass it. There was an inevitability about the win once we actually got control of that midfield, because we've got better players. They were cloggers, in my opinion. A good team.
I must admit, I love a box midfield, Dan. I think it gives us so much control in a game. And when you've got players like Camps and Collar at the top of that box, things start happening, don't they?
Yeah, and the other thing as well, players start finding pockets. Like you say, Collar, Barry started finding pockets. And then, like you say, when they do, they're a threat. So, Louis Barry started coming into the game. Will Collar starts coming into the game. And then, like you say, we're attacking threat then. Same thing, a bit weird. Obviously, after the game, they said he felt a bit dizzy, Fraser. That's why he came off. Watching it, I thought he had a concussion, to be honest. There was a bit of a clash when he had Milenic Ali won it. We sort of clashed with him, and he didn't look right after that. And then he came off after about 10 minutes. And I thought it was a concussion, personally. Because even watching him walk off, he looked a bit punch drunk.
But it was funny how Dave tried to play that contact down, didn't he? If you listen to the post match,
yeah. Well, the thing is, if they say it's a concussion, I think it's a 21-day protocol for return to play, so you can't come play for 21 days if it says.
Do you think they're playing the game then, Dan?
Well, I'm not going to argue with Dave Challoner. If Dave Challoner says he's not feeling right, he's not feeling right. But I know that obviously, I think we've had it before with was it Will Collar that got a concussion and he was out? Let's say we missed him for 3 weeks, and that's the normal protocol. Is if you've got a concussion, you're out for 3 weeks. At the end, I did see some photos with him at the end of the game when he was doing like sponsorship stuff and in the players' lounge and stuff like that. So hopefully he's absolutely fine, and I assume he'll take a rest midweek as well. So
the most important thing, though, Dan, is that he is available, fit, willing, and able to join the podcast special. He is recording with Russ on Thursday. So Fraser Horsfall interview with Russ and Waggy, Patreon members only. So get signed up, guys. There's loads of other stuff on there for you as well with Kenny Boxall. You know the score by now. Matty Warburton, Will Collar, Liam Hogan. So yeah, get signed up. But yeah, they are sitting down with Fraser, maybe even talk about that injury as well, and loads of other stuff. So yeah, get
worth it.
Well worth it, exactly. Three English, as Waggy says, £3 English. Okay, it's the price of a pint, as Waggy would say. Yeah, or a posh coffee. That's what he says, isn't it?
That would have been a third of a pint in London on Thursday when I was in London on Thursday at the O2. A third of a pint, £3.
That's true. You get 3 months for a pint. I mean, come on, you can't get better value than that. Anyway, so first half comes to an end, really 0-0. I'm thinking, yeah, this could be one of those games. Second half starts. Paul, do you want to take us through the second half and maybe take us up to that first goal as well?
Yeah, the second half we seemed to come out quite bright. I felt we came out on top. That midfield, the control was there. You could feel the control. Like your Christmas tree, though, Jimmy, it was slightly askew. Do you not feel that we kind of had a little bit more width down the right? Toure was hanging back a little bit on the left. Number of times that sitting in the pop side, I'm like looking down and going, "Get forward, get up there, get past your man." Because was it Sweeney? Their sort of right centre back just didn't seem to be covering the ground. I kept thinking we need to get down that left. I'll give Barry a little bit more support so he can come in. But the pressure built. You could feel the pressure built, and then the Edgeley Park faithful start getting behind the team, and you can see that raise. It brings the players up. It makes them feel, even though it's awful, it's cold, it's chucking it down with rain. It makes you feel warm. It makes you feel brighter inside. It makes you want to run a bit more. There was definitely something coming. You could feel it. You could feel it in the stands.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because in the first half, it felt the wind was coming from behind the Cheadle end across the pitch towards the railway end. So we were kicking with the wind. So everything was over here and running away from us. And you'd expect then, obviously, the second half, we're kicking into the wind, but it's that wind seemed to sort of shift at times as well. 1 minute it was sort of, we were kicking into it, but then it was coming, like you say, towards the pop side the next minute, watching it on the TV, and it's like you say that it just seemed to be all over the place. And like you say, the longer it went on before that goal, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be one of them games where we're going to get punished for it, or we're going to get nothing out of this game where we deserve to get at least something out of it. So yeah, it was a bit of a weird one.
I think it was blowing diagonally, sort of towards the railway end and the pop side, that sort of way, and that's why. I mean, if you listen to the Callum Camp's post match, he was saying they found it a lot easier in the second half to get those balls up to Wootton because they were sticking, and like even the balls that we were playing down the channels, the wind was sort of making the ball hold up a little bit, which allowed us, as you said, Paul, to get that pressure onto them. And I always think, even when we've had a bad half at Edgeley Park, like 0-0, you're still moving their players around. You're still making them work. I always feel, even when the possession stats don't necessarily show it, I always feel that we're moving them around more than we are moving around. Yeah. And it then tends to show in that second half. They just get tired. They just run out of puff, the opposition. And that's when Louis Barry started doing his stuff as well. So that first goal, I mean, it was what? Dan, do you want to describe it to me? I can remember how it went in, but I can't remember the build-up, if you can or not.
I can't remember. No, I can't.
Okay, you stop, Paul. You're up. Can you remember the build-up?
If I remember the build-up to it, we worked our way down the right, if I remember. There was a lovely little interplay, if I remember right, between Camps and Connolly. Back to the left, I could be completely missing it. Back to Wootton. Wootton hit the shot.
Wootton hit the shot, yeah.
Rebounded out.
Yeah.
I mean, he finished it well.
It was in a minute. I mean, like from the Cheadle end, mate, it was like a striker's instinct finish. He didn't even try and hit it high or wide or anything. It was literally bang straight into the back of the net. I couldn't believe it.
I looked around at my wife and went, "Who scored? Was it Collar? Was it Barry? Was it one of our guys?" Because it was put in with such aplomb. You think, that's a striker's goal. No, it's just the centre back.
Yeah, and that really, I think, when we got that first goal, Dan, it didn't look like they were coming back, did it? Really?
No, but it was still a bit edgy. I thought it just felt like, say, this. I don't think Ben actually made a save all game, actually, according to the stats.
Nope. They had 3 shots all game.
But it's the county fan in me that, even at 1-0, I never think we're going to chuck it away in the last minute or do something silly. At that point, no, I thought the referee sort of like was on a mission to spoil the game. He sort of seemed to get in the way of the ball at times, and a bit bizarre with his decisions. And he was getting a little bit. I thought we were just getting a little bit frustrated with him as well, and some of the stuff they were doing. They kept on changing their formation and their shape as well. At times, I thought so. It was a bit of, like I say, very, very hard to sort of pin them down at times. But like you were saying before, I think, especially me and the boys sat on the sofa watching it, we're crying out for Tanto to come on. And substitutions to be made. We thought the game was starting to, like I say, when it was 1-0, the game was starting to get a bit stretched. They were obviously trying to get a goal, but they weren't sort of getting really into our final third. But they were starting to leave gaps at the back, and we just thought, if you had, and that's when Louis Barry started then stop picking the ball up and getting into making runs and getting to the byline. And same again, once he gets to the byline, it's just as much as him cutting in on, like say, from the 18-yard line, and he cuts in. I think that game was all about him getting to the byline, and he had, like I say, one shot, I think, that hit the post. I think Camps hit the post as well in the second half.
Lewis Bate definitely hit the post.
Was it Lewis Bate?
Yeah, Lewis Bate.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, we looked pressure up wise, but like I say, we just couldn't get that little. Like we needed that look for that first goal coming up. Like I said, and sometimes what we need is, like I say, it's coming off someone's arse or someone's shin, an own goal that's, like you say, like a striker's finish. Not as good as obviously the Ian Dowie own goal, but it's still a good own goal to have.
We needed that little bit of spark. We needed that little bit of something to kind of quell that inner county fan that's going, oh, we could give it away. We could give this up. I know what you're saying about bringing Tanto on. I'd have liked to have seen Diamond have a bit of a go, because I think he's got something. I'd like to see him, like, maybe not score with his arse like Tanto, but get a screamer, like like one of Barry's goals, just cut in and hit it and just see what happens. It would have been nice just to have seen a little bit of a spark rather than that grinding it out.
Yeah, with Diamond though, you feel that he's just one goal from his season really sort of kicking on. That a Louis Barry type goal is what he needs, and his season will really kick on, I feel.
I mean, he's definitely going to get chances now. Fevrier is injured. I'm not sure how long he's out for, but he's got some sort of quad injury. Dave said so. It's sort of been oscillating, hasn't it, between Diamond and Fevrier being on the bench, one of the two for a league game. So maybe Jack will get a little bit of a chance. He'll certainly play in the BSM trophy. He did come on as a substitute. I'm looking at like FotMob now, and it says we had 3 substitutes. I mean, obviously Sam Hughes came on for Mingy on 60 minutes. That would have been a pre-planned thing with Mingy being injured and what have you. Yeah. But I swear Bailey, Alafi and Diamond came on before 90 minutes.
No, it was 90,
no?
89. Yeah, it was that, because like I say, we were sat 80 minutes looking at the
we had 6 minutes injury time, so maybe it was that. Yeah,
screaming at, so come on, get Tanto on, because we just thought that Tanto would have a field day with that sort of gap that was sort of being created with them pushing on, trying to get that equaliser. So
you said about the referee, Dan, didn't you? You said about the referee that you felt he wasn't really going to give as much. He couldn't do anything, could he, mate, about the tackle on Barry that got us the penalty?
No, especially I think we'd had one, decline just before that, and I think
wasn't
Barry...
a penalty on Collar. We should have had a corner. That's what the Cheadle. Well, that's what I was shouting for. There was a tackle on Collar.
The goalkeeper comes rushing out. He goes round the collar. The argument for me was if Collar's touched the ball first, and that's what he said because he gave a goal kick, then obviously it's a penalty.
But he didn't. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, good point. So for him to give a goal kick, it's a penalty, really, or he gives the corner, which it was. It was a corner. It was 100% a corner. He knocks it onto the keeper, who comes rushing out. The ball goes out, and then Collar sort of ends up on the floor as well.
Yeah. So that was my logic. It's by the referee's decision. If it's not a penalty, then it's a corner because the goalkeeper's got touch of the ball. If it's a goal kick, that means that the goalkeeper's not got nowhere near the ball, so it should be a penalty. And like I say, so it was that one. I think, like I said, it was an incident where he got in the way of a pass, and it ended up touching him, but he carried on playing opposed to stopping the game. And I think Barry as well got chucked up in the air just outside the area as well. And then I say after the penalty, there was another one, I think, as well with Tanto that should have had a penalty as well. So but he's a referee. I'm not sure on the stats, but I think it's a referee that we have had quite a lot over the last 3 years, isn't it?
He definitely looked familiar to me. And I mean, in fairness, it wasn't an easy game to watch in the conditions when I wasn't even getting wet. I was just a bit cold, and I had to keep rubbing my hands together. But you've got players who are trying to play in those conditions. The referee and the linesmen, they were trying to do their jobs as well. It can't be easy when you got wind and rain swirling around all over the place. Paul, take us through the second goal then. So the tackle and then the penalty itself.
Yeah, the it wasn't it kind of felt every time that Louis Barry cuts in, you're waiting for either screaming into the top corner or somebody to take him down.
Yeah.
There was that moment when he knocks it past the defender. You think, was he the same defender that actually scored the own goal?
Yeah, he got a 4-point something on FOTMob, so he had a bad game. Yeah, own goal and that penalty.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, what a shame. But when you've got Barry in front of you, you don't know whether or not he's going to go left or right. You've no idea which side he's going to take you on. We know that he's a right footer. We know that he wants to cut in and he wants to hit them with his right. But he seems to, over this season, he seems to have started going down the outside and bringing it back with his left. Once you start doing that, centre-backs, right-backs are in two minds then. Which way is he going to go? And as he goes past, he's lightning, that lad. He is absolute lightning. That centre-back must have gone, oh, what can I do now? I don't know. I'll give him a good kicking. It did make me wonder about the penalty though, because you saw Will Collar standing at on the dot, holding the ball. I thought, is he gonna claim it? Is he gonna claim it?
I think there's something psychological there. I think if you were to speak to a psychologist, if Will Collar is holding the ball, or if somebody else is holding the ball for you, maybe it takes some of that pressure off. If you're the penalty taker and you're holding the ball for like 2 minutes, because he took a breath, didn't he? More than a breath to try and.
It goes back to Wimbledon away a couple of seasons ago. Miles Hippolyte, in the last sort of few minutes, we get a penalty. He gets the ball, all the Wimbledon players are in his face, putting him off and stuff like that. And like I say,
you've spoken about this before, Dan, haven't you?
Sorry?
You've spoken about this before.
Yeah, and I've said it before. You get the biggest, ugliest bloke to get the ball, stand on the penalty spot so nobody can scuff it up and go, come and give me. I
wouldn't say that's Will Collar, though, the biggest, ugliest bloke, to be fair. He's probably the best-looking bloke in the squad, to be fair.
You're gonna cause an argument now. Fraser Horscroll will be having words with you. But, that's how it should be. Somebody stands there with the penalty up, give me all your banter, give me all your mind games. And then the referee goes, come on, let's take this penalty. You go, here you go. And you pass the ball to the person that's taking the penalty, who's been stood out the way, out the back, not hearing it, not getting psyched out. And that's how penalties should be taken, And like I say, a little bit different. Normally he goes the other way to the goalkeeper's. If he normally goes to his left, the goalkeeper's right. Louis Barry, but he went the other way, didn't he? Sort of give him the eyes and went the other way. So couldn't fault him.
It was great to hear the chant. It was, it's always nice to hear the name called, especially from the Cheadle. We hear it in the pop side, but it's lovely to hear that noise, that roar come down from the Cheadle end.
Yeah, and then we made some substitutes on the sort of 89th, 90th minute, saw the game out. Could have made it probably 3, to be fair. We had a few chances. Any standout players, guys? I'll start with you, Paul. Who did you think deserved the man of the match? The sponsors said it was Lewis Bate.
Yeah. Lewis Bates is a great player. He doesn't stop running. And I can understand why he was given it. Personally, I thought that Callum Camps was the best player on the field. His work rate, his work ethic is top draw. I cannot fault him. And even when he got a knock partway through the second half. He kept sort of favouring his left thigh. You could just see there was no way. There's no way he's looking over to the bench going, I need to come off now. I'm done. It was a case of give it a rub, give it a shake, keep going, keep putting the shift in. For me, Camps, man of the match.
What about you, Dan?
Exactly the same. When he announced it, the lad went, "What?" And he said the same. It should be Camps. That was his first words out of his mouth when it was announced on there. Lewis Bay, yes, he had a good game. We both thought he was probably the loosest game he's played with his passing. We thought that he might be down to the weather. the conditions, but we just, FOTMob says his pass accuracy was 76%, which is probably one of the lowest it's probably ever been in a county shirt. But yeah, completely understand. He's the captain. He does drive the team forward at times. But yeah, I thought Camps was sort of like the man of the match for me.
I'll make it a hat trick and say I think it was Camps as well. Just his ability to move the ball forward is superior to Lewis Bate, and Lewis Bate's a different type of player. He's in the team to just a different job. But you know that when Camps is in that midfield, and we've seen it in other games throughout the season, whether it's when we were being tonked by Blackburn and he came on for the second half, or he came on for another second half recently as well, and he just completely calmed everything down. And he, as I say, his ability to play those, he works well in really tight conditions as well. He doesn't seem to mind having someone on his back. He'll sort of wriggle away from it. He's strong. He's got good upper body strength as well. So yeah, Callum Camps, a clean sweep from us. Cool. Okay, shall we just go on to the table? So that leaves us in 5th position. So top are still Wickham on 18. So played 18, 40 points. Wrexham keep on bloody doing it, don't they? Keep on getting these wins.
Did you see the goal as well, the Elliot Lee one?
I've seen the goal, and it was a
scrawny.
Oh no, sorry, I saw the Rathburn goal for the previous game, and it was a stunner from like outside the box, like 95th minute winner or something.
Straight from the corner kick, and the wind just got it, and it went in the top corner. So.
Yeah, apparently he tried it a couple of times earlier, according to Radio 5. So yeah, they're on 40 points. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed they're going to start losing, but they don't seem to be. Birmingham, 17 games played. They're on 39, so they can leapfrog both Wrexham and Wickham. Huddersfield, so I've got my tickets for the Huddersfield game on Boxing Day. Paul, are you going?
We're hoping to, although I might end up having to work.
Okay.
Not on Boxing Day, but early on the 27th. So, yeah. I might, unfortunately.
And Dan, I don't think you're going either, are you? So I'll be flying the flag for the Courtyard Club call.
I'll be watching on a stream somewhere in a foreign land, I suppose. If it's
somewhere hot, I hope. Time of year. Yeah.
But
and then so Huddersfield on 35 points. They've played 18 games, and then we are on 33 points. So yeah, I mean, we're hanging in there in the playoffs. We have played the most amount of games compared to people below us and around us. Reading have played 18, Bolton have played 17. But I'm happy with that. I think Dave will be happy with that. We'd have taken it, wouldn't we, at the start of the season?
Yeah. And definitely, if you look at that table now, I think a few weeks ago we commented about that County and Wickham were the only two teams that had won like three in the form table, 3 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's changed now.
It has changed, like you say. Wrexham, Birmingham are in there. Huddersfield are on a good run as well. Reading, obviously, would be interesting to see what happens with Reading over the next few weeks. Obviously, they've just lost their manager. But yeah, it's and it's the teams that we expected to be up there are all thereabouts. Your Bolton's not that million miles away. Neither is your Barnsley, but you look at the table now, and what for me, from 8th to 5th, where we are, there's 6 points. So these little gaps forming here and there, and like you say, especially when you come into the Christmas period, where, like you say, we've got 4 games in 10 days. If we get a good form over that, and we come into January, then that's 6 points. If that 6 points turns into 8-10 point gap, then between us and 8th place, then we playoff is a place is achievable. It's in our sights.
Paul, give me a mark out of 10 for the referee yesterday.
I would put him around about 7.
Gosh, you are really kind. I'm thinking much less than that. Yeah, really? Go on.
I thought for the first half, I don't think he did. There was a couple of instances. I think we had an appeal for a corner that from the reaction from the players must have been a corner. All the extra players kind of turned away from it and going, I'm not going to look at him. But in second half, he did start. He seems to try and want to get them back into it or give them some really dodgy decisions.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
After the same again, really. First half, I'd have given him 7 or 8 out of 10. Second half, I thought, a 5 or 6. And like you say, luckily the penalty was a stonewaller, I think. Otherwise, I don't think he would have given that either. So yeah, the last time we actually have had him once this season already, which was the 1-1 draw with Mansfield away earlier in the season, was the last time we actually had him. So yeah, we got through it.
So I thought he was particularly crap. I'd give him a 4 out of 10. But this is what Andy said on our WhatsApp group. The ref was fucking wank. The worst I've seen since being alive. So that's
fair enough.
That's what Andy said. I'm not sure he's giving him a 7 out of 10. There we go.
I'm just too generous.
You are too nice a man. I can tell that. So for everyone who's listening and not watching, Paul looks like he's a lovely man. Okay.
Yeah. Looks can be deceiving.
Oh, can they? Okay, you're one of them. Right, fine. Let's move on. Very, very quickly, because we are on 41 minutes already. Quick Bradford preview. Paul, what's your prediction for this game? And tell me who you think he will play up front, to the front three.
I think he'll change. I think it'll be a good change. Maybe 5 or 6 changes to the starting lineup that we saw yesterday. I'd be looking at Tanto starting. I think he needs the minutes. He deserves the minutes. Look, he was on fire last year. He doesn't seem to be the same Tanto that we saw last year, but I think it just comes with a bit of time and a few minutes on the park, on the grass. Yeah, a few minutes on the grass. I'd like to see Diamond in. I really do. My concern is that should anything happen, God please, nothing happens to Barry. But if he does, Diamond just fits into that left hand wing, that left wing. It'd be great to see him in. Right side, I don't know. Pick a name out of a hat. I'd like to see. I'd like to see Camps play up there a little bit more. Maybe move him forward a little bit more because he does progress the ball, and that Forest Green goal last year proves it. He can hit him.
Yeah, definitely. What about you? Oh, we need a score prediction from you, Paul.
Score, I'm going to go with a comfortable 2-0, maybe even 3.
Yeah. Do you think Sarcevic will play, or is he still injured? And I know that he was hobbling around a bit, wasn't he? I don't know. And they've also got what's he called? The essential defender. I'm really sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Is it Byrne?
Byrne.
Oh, Byrne.
Yeah.
Neil Byrne as well. So he may be playing. So, okay, Dan, what's your score prediction? And who do you think he'll play up front?
Me, I think Mellon's going to play some part. Otherwise, I'd send him back. For me, because he's just taking up a space. I know that they have an agreement and stuff like that, but I'd start with Tanto and Mellon up front, and give it that thing, and give them opportunities. Like I say, for me, it's all about opportunities. It's an opportunity to get to Wembley, get closer to Wembley. It's an opportunity for players that are on the fringe to make their name and put a case that they should be picked. Opportunity for game time. But yeah, for me, Mellon, the season, we're nearly at Christmas, nearly at January, he's not played any part really so far. And I want to see, because he was a player at the beginning of the season I was excited about. I think he's a finisher from what we seen at Morecambe last year. I was really excited with him. And like you say, the rumours that obviously other players are coming in January from Iceland and so forth. So for me, he's going to show it, and he's only going to show it if he's given an opportunity, and this is a perfect opportunity for him. So, 7:00 kickoff. Remember, people, don't turn up at 7:30 or 7:45 because you'll miss the first half. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. but I think we've got enough to beat them. I think, it depends on what I was saying again on Bradford, if they put a full team out, if they go really heavy in it. But I think we've got enough to beat them. I don't think Burns started in their last game. So I don't know if that means he's playing or not. And I don't think Sarcevic also started in their last game either. I'm just looking at their teams and seeing what they're on the bench and not. But yeah, looking at it, no, they weren't on the bench and they didn't start either. So it looks like both of them are out of the team at the moment. So yeah, it looks like there might not be sort of like a welcoming for ex-county players on Tuesday. But yeah, 2-0, I'll be happy. Another clean sheet. I think that's the most the important thing from Saturday, taken from Saturday's fixture as well. It was another clean sheet. And we start sort of racking them up quite quickly now.
Yeah, and obviously we'll see Adai in nets probably as well. Well, we will see Adai in nets. Yeah, I'll go with a 2-1 victory. I think Dave quite likes this competition. I think he drills it into the players how important it is for them to stay in this competition as well. Just like you just said, Dan, it gives them more opportunities to shout, pick me sort of thing. If someone scores a decent goal or has a good performance, they have a good chance of getting into the next league game. And once you get knocked out of this cup, it's going to be a lot harder to do that just by playing well in training. So yeah, that's it. Does anybody else want to say anything else before we leave?
No.
I'd like to say thank you.
Oh,
thank you for having me on. It's much appreciated.
That's very nice. Thank you for coming on, especially at late notice as well. So much appreciated.
I'm looks aren't deceiving. I am a nice guy.
You are a nice guy, and if you do, I mean, we do sometimes hang around the courtyard as well before the game. So if you do see us, come up and say hello. And we'll probably we'll say hello.
Yeah.
Can't guarantee we'll buy you a drink, but you never know.
No, Russ always loves a hug and a photo opportunity, so yeah, always come up to Russ, give him a hug.
I'm a hugger anyway. So.
Oh, he loves a hug, Russ. He might not have the face of somebody that likes a hug, but we know he loves a hug.
That is controversial. I think he looks like he loves a hug, Russ. And actually, if you see me super cold or looking super cold in the middle of winter, I probably am super cold because I've got no fat on me whatsoever. So give me a hug as well.
Okay.
Forget Russ. He doesn't need one.
Like penguins, we'll just share the warmth.
Lovely. That sounds even better. If I can be the penguin in the middle, I will be really happy. In between Dan, you, Russ, Andy, I'd be as snug as a bug in a rug, wouldn't I? Hey? That'd be brilliant. Anyway, on that note, let's say goodbye and thanks once again, Paul and Dan. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow County fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!